Okay, so welcome, guys. Welcome to Cillionaire's Cafe, where we are going to be doing digital currency 101, which is also cryptocurrency, right? So I want to thank you guys for coming. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me in the words of Jay-Z, and I thank you guys for that. So this is a 6-week course. Today, we are going to go over the basics. I mean, just the history of it, right? So we're going to get into the history and start talking about how did we get to cryptocurrency? This is what this session is going to be about, right? So again, I just wanted to say to everyone that this is a no selling platform. This is a safe place. Please do not solicit people in the chat for any type of solicitation, right? So we are going to get started, guys. So I'm going to share my screen because my presentation you will see in a moment. All right, so here we go. I'm getting into presentation mode. Okay. So again, this is digital currency 101. So 101 just means the basics, right? So every week you're going to learn a little bit more because in the cryptocurrency space, it is possible to teach people what it's all about in one course, but most people don't grasp it in one course. So we have to get down to the nuts and bolts of it, as you know, as they say, right? So, all right. So again, welcome to Cillionaire's Cafe. Thank you for signing up. I truly appreciate you guys coming. All right. So I have to make sure I do this disclaimer. This is not financial advice. This is for informational and educational purposes only. Again, this is a no selling platform. This is a safe place. So please do not solicit people in the chat, right? And that's my signature, Jill Cillionaire. Right? All right, so we're going to get into it because I know you guys are really, really excited about what you are going to learn today. So this is the world of cryptocurrency. It started off as digital currency, and we'll see how that works out. So we are going to go over the first 3 topics today, which is Bitcoin, CeFi, and Ethereum. The other ones are going to be left for the upcoming weeks. So just so you know, this is the table of contents. Up here, if you if you forget, you know, the link or anything like that, how to get on, you can always go to this link, right? I mean, this page right here, which is linkapp.com, Jill_Jones, and you can scan the QR code. So if you want to screenshot this page for later, so you'll have a resource to get back on, because with Eventbrite, it may be a little bit difficult. They don't really have a slot where you put the link in. So I had to put it in multiple places, right? And you can also go to my YouTube channel, right? So, okay. All right. So before we start getting into anything at all, we have to talk about the evolution of money, right? The evolution of money is important, very, very important when it comes to cryptocurrency. And if you take a look, first we started off as the barter system, which is right here, right? And you can see that happened around 6000 BC. BC means before Christ, right? Before Christ. So those numbers are before Christ. And the barter system was basically, I trade you a cow for a pig, right? And part of that barter system was, oh, I'll trade you my beads for maybe a cow or a piece of bread, you know, those types of things, right? And then they started to find gold in around maybe 3000 BC. Gold became a valuable commodity, right? So what happened was gold was being the valuable commodity. People were starting to trade gold for goods and services like they did with the barter, but now we have gold, right? So what was happening is that, now mind you, barter is still used today. Gold is kind of still used today too, depending on jewelry. So you can sell your jewelry for, you know, for the value. But gold was so heavy, they were carrying around blocks of gold. And if you look at it, so gold is up here, then it's down here, and then you can see the people that it's related to kind of give you a visual of how it, you know, the journey was. So this is basically on the top the years, and then this is the journey right in the middle, and these are the people. So gold was very, very heavy, right? But at that time they were using it to change for goods and services. But the problem with gold, it was hard to break it up into different values. So let's just take an example. If Jova had you know, some work that he had to be done, right? And he had gold and he wanted to pay the farmer down the street, he couldn't chop it up in little pieces. He had to give him a whole block. So it was like a standard value. So moving forward, 700 BC, what happened was they started to make coins. So that gold started to, you know, they started to put the gold in banks to back the coins, right? So banks, they created banks at this time with the gold, and they said, we'll hold your gold because it's too heavy to carry around, and we'll give you coins, which is the value of your gold. So if you had $1,000 worth of gold, the bank will hold it and give you $1,000 worth of coins. So, and some of these things we still use today. It's just that it has evolved, right? So gold again became too tedious to start to pay people because it came in smaller values like 1 cent, 5 cents, 25 cents. I can't remember what the old terms were. So then they started to make bills, which is paper money, and which they called greenbacks. So greenbacks, the bank started making these greenbacks, and you could either get coins or dollar or greenbacks or whatever your local fiat is for the value of gold, right? So if you had in the bank $2,000 worth of gold, it was, you know, it was backed by these coins and these dollar bills, right? Those greenbacks. So we still use those today, right? So moving on to around 1970s, they started to make credit cards because credit cards became dollar bills. People would walk around with them with like $1,000 stacks, and it became unsafe. So they started to put money on credit cards, right? So the value, that credit card could hold a lot more value than your pockets can. So that basically became the new norm around 1970s, which is interesting because I don't know about you guys, but for me, I was like, I thought credit cards came like, like recently, like like the 90s, but I guess I was sadly mistaken. I don't know. I mean, I guess because when you're young and you don't understand. So yeah, but anyway, moving on. So then we came 1997 1994, around that time, we started to get the internet, right? So now, not only are we spending money in all those different ways, we started to have the internet, right? So now we got internet, and then we're starting to pay on the internet, pay for goods and services on the internet. So that's when the revolution of PayPal and Cash App and Venmo and all those other things, that's when those came about, right? But we still use all of those today, which is interesting, right? Okay, so then we came to a point of cryptocurrency. And then that cryptocurrency became, if you look at the middle, it became decentralized finance, right? And I'm going to explain that a little bit more. And once we get into it, and we're going to see why that we got to the cryptocurrency, right? All right, so 5 waves of currency. What happened was caveman days, it was barter system. Around 1200 BC, they got those physical coins. Then we got those greenbacks, right? And then we got electronic, which was interesting for me. Electronic money actually started in 1861 AD, which is after death, meaning after Christ's death, right? So remember, BC is before Christ, and then AD is after Christ, right? And now we have 2009, which we have cryptocurrency. But check out down the bottom, guys. This is interesting. 1600, colonists started buying homes with coins, right? 1792, Congress passed the Coinage Act, making it the local currency, right? Then 1861, we started getting these greenbacks, which were the dollars. Around 1950s, they started the credit cards, right? And then in 1981, this is when the online banking became available. And now we have 2014, which is the phone apps, which is the Venmo, the Cash App, and the PayPal, and all those great things, right? All right, so what happened? What happened, right? So we talked about all of this stuff where the money, the evolution of money. So in like the 1977, right? What happened was called, remember I talked about how you had gold in a bank and it was backed by, your money was backed by that gold, right? That was the original plan. And what happened was they put this law together that was called the Bretton Woods system. What happened was in 1944, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you guys can screenshot this, all the history is on here, the resources are on here. You can screenshot this and read it on your own. But the they met in Bretton Woods, PA. It was like 44 countries. They got together and they said, hey, we're going to have a banking system where our goal backs our money, right? Our goal is going to back our money. That's the way it started out. But here comes Nixon. Along comes Nixon, and he caused the Nixon shock. That Nixon shock caused shockwaves through the economy from that point on. So 1977, he ended the Bretton Woods system, meaning that you no longer have to have gold in a bank to back your funds, right? So what happens to that? Oh, I'll tell you what happens with that. The banks were able to print money at their leisure. So banks started just printing money, and to whatever avail, I'm not sure, it may have worked at the time, but this is going to lead up to why we have Bitcoin today, right? So every time and I know this is like a real misconception, but most of us believe that when you go to a bank and you put your funds in your bank account, that the bank is actually using your funds to actually do investments and things of that nature. That may be on a tiny small scale. But actually what they do is every time they give you a loan, they print that amount. They print that amount and they put it back in their bank. And what they do is pass on the debt to you. So just to give you an example, let's just say I go into a bank and I am getting a $500,000 loan. What they do at that, whenever their printing time comes up, they print up $500,000 so they're not losing. And then they pass on that debt to me for me to pay it back. And that's why it's so easy for them to sell your mortgages and your car loans to different companies, because all they're doing is, remember the digital phase, all they're doing is passing on, the numbers to someone else. They don't actually physically give money to those places. All they do is adjust numbers. And what they do is that they print the money. So this became a problem. Nixon stopped the Bretton Woods system, and then banks started printing at their leisure. And what happens is when you print at your leisure, nothing is scarcity. The value of money goes down. And guess what? Who have the biggest leverage of all? The banks, right? So what happened? It caused the domino effect. The Nixon shock caused a domino effect of many different crashes and events, right? So over time, I don't know if you see this graph right here with the numbers in it. I don't know if you see my cursor, but if you notice, 1973, between 1929 and 1973, there were minimal crashes and events. But because the Nixon shock happened in 1977, After that, you could see that there were tons of different crashes and events and problems, because what happens is it causes inflation. It causes major, major inflation, right? So check this graph out, guys. From 1910 to 1970, the inflation curve was really, really low. And after, if you see where my arrow is pointing, 1977, that's when the Nixon shock happened and the Bretton Woods system ended, right? So alongside of that, let me just go back. And Nixon, before the Bretton Woods system, it was like 44 countries. They all got together and they basically based their value on the US dollar. So US dollar was dominant. And I don't know if you ever heard of like your mortgage, if it's adjustable rate, it was pretty much set on the US market. That was that reason, because of the Bretton Woods system, right? So once they ended that, then if you see the spike that happens, that spike started going up. Inflation, a lot of crashes, a lot of poor management, a lot of that stuff started to happen. And that was actually the domino effect that led up to Bitcoin, right? All right. So couple of things started happening. 2008, for those of you who remember, it was the subprime market crash. That was one of the major ones when Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. Lehman Brothers had been around for many, many years, and they had, and a number of other places like the motor companies, they started crashing because guess what? People are printing so much money and they're having poor management, right? So poor management, let's go over it. Let's get into it, guys, right? Lehman Brothers, poor management, right? Printing money, they're printing money, right? Luna, no different. Whether it's regulated or not regulated, it's all poor management, right? Because banks are just printing money, giving it to people for big businesses. And guess what, guys? We are the ones that are getting the debt when it happens this way, because they bail them out and then we are getting the debt on this. FTX, same thing. Doesn't matter if it's regulated or not, it's all poor management. Everglade in China, poor management. Is because the banks have the authority to print money at their leisure due to the Nixon shock, right? Okay. So other things that happened, and this was a cry out for help, Occupy Wall Street. One of the things that, started to spark a lot of attention, because banks are able to print at their leisure. They're able to, cause inflation. They're able to cause you guys high interest rates for whatever reason, whether it's a car, for insurance, if it's for, for mortgages, all those things. So Occupy Wall Street was like a cry out for help that happened in 2011. They went there and they occupied it and they said, hey, guys, we want these banks to start being responsible instead of passing on the debt to us. So if you take a look, and you guys could take a screenshot of this because the resources are here and you can read it later. But if you take a look down here, this guy have a sign that says, Chase, give us our money back, $92.7 billion. This young lady holds up a sign that says, none are more helpless enslaved than those who are falsely believed that they are free, meaning that we are free from all of the bureaucracy that the banks are having. And guys, I'm just giving you the facts as they lay here. This is not like personal opinion. This is basically this. And if you see down on the bottom, it says foreclose on banks, not people, because what was going on is that banks were foreclosing, taking people homes, but they were bailing out the big companies, right? The big companies, and just printing money. And this all comes from, as I said before, from the Nixon shock, right? Okay. All right. So another cry for help is the AMC apes. I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but this was from the stock market, because there is no fairness and transparency for the retailers. Meaning, if you're doing retail mortgage, if you're doing retail stocks, there is no fairness, there's no transparency of funds. And basically what happens is the whales, which they call, the whales are people who can buy like $1,000, 1,000 shares of stocks, or more. So they have this algorithm, right? And this algorithm, what it does is, if you're a retailer, they know that you're not going to buy any more than 100 shares at a certain time. And then basically it notices that when you are buying fractional shares. So what happens is they put you in a pool of retail buyers, right? And then anyone that's buying above that and buying from different hedge funds, they get put in a different pool. And that algorithm is so slow that the people who are whales in the hedge funds get the signals before the retailers. And what happens is the retailers wind up losing their money because the hedge funds who brought so many more stocks get to sell them out before the retailers can. So Occupy Wall Street and the AMC apes were all about getting a fair market from the banks, getting the fair market from the stock market. And basically that was a cry out to say, hey, we are here, we see what's going on, and we want fairness in the market, right? So just to show you one of the cases that have been, Robinhood has been since 2014 and currently is right now. According to the reports, that they had a lawsuit causing users to lose their money by algorithmic trading that gave retail investors a severe disadvantage against the whales. Remember, the whales are the millionaires, the billionaires who buy the stocks, right? So, basically, as I said before, if you brought under 100, they know that the retailer isn't going to go and buy more than 100, and they're going to probably buy some fractional shares. And basically, they put them in a pool, and they were sued because of those actions. So again, fairness and transparency in the market, right? So this is all leading up to why Bitcoin was created, right? All right, so now we enter the creation of cryptocurrency for reasons that happened back in 1977 to present, right? So here we go, introducing Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency that can be transferred on a peer-to-peer Bitcoin network. Simply, Bitcoin is a software. Bitcoin is a software. Bitcoin holds two hats, right? So Bitcoin is a software that is on a decentralized, but you can also think of it like this. You can also buy a share of Bitcoin software. It's kind of like Microsoft. Like Microsoft have software that does certain things, but you can also buy a share of that company against what they make. Okay, same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the same way. So the creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, around 2008, identity unknown. It could be a female, it could be a male, it could be a group of people, we don't know. But the reason for making this is because there was no transparency and fairness in the market, and then banks were able to just print money at their leisure, right? And pass on the debt to the retailers. So this person or this group of people decided that they were going to make an alternate banking system or finance system, and they created the Bitcoin network, right? So, all right, so Bitcoin was simply created, as I said before, as an alternative to the current banking and finance system that is dominated by the politics, hedge funds, banks, and government. A system where the people control their own funds. That's the purpose of it, where you can control your own funds, where there is transparency, equal playing field, where there is a currency with value and have a market cap. Because currently, our dollars don't have a market cap. They can just print them as they see fit. The banks can do that at their leisure, right? And so Bitcoin was a system intended not to be manipulated, to benefit or leverage any particular group of people or status. That is really important, guys, because guess what? Right now, our current system benefits those and can be manipulated by those who are benefit and leverage, meaning that they have the money, they can leverage, they can get things done. But as a retail person, you are not able to have that leverage. So Bitcoin was created for some of those reasons, okay? All right, so here's a timeline of Bitcoin. I just wanted to throw in there. White paper is when he originally wrote it up, he, she, or the group. And then they had their first block mined in 2009, right? And then the first purchase with Bitcoin was 2010. Some lovely guy brought a pizza with it, and they call it Pizza Day. And they started to have a market cap, because remember, if you have a cap, meaning you have a level, you have like, you know, an amount which it stays at, basically you can create a value or scarcity. Because right now our dollar is not based on any value of gold or anything in the bank. What the value is based on is us personally putting value on it, right? Because we have to do things with it. We have to trade goods and services for it, right? So the first Bitcoin fork happened in 2017, and then we had the Lightning Network, which started in 2008, and here we are in 2022, and we're still dealing with the Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin, only 21 million Bitcoins were created. So the reason for that is that no one can keep printing them out and giving more value. So that creates scarcity, and it lowers inflation, right? Because you're not just printing them at your leisure and just throwing them in the market. There's only 21 million Bitcoins, okay? And all Bitcoins are not put in the market at the same time. They have this mathematical pattern that they release them every so often over the next couple of years. And I think it ends in 21, 24, I believe. If I'm mistaken, I will correct that next time. But yeah, they're released every 10 minutes. A new Bitcoin is released onto the blockchain and into the market, because, you know, you have to create value, right? Because if we don't create value, we create inflation, right? So we have to keep value at its best, right? So this system was created to create scarcity and anti-inflation. And then if you notice, we see a pattern here. Remember coins, the first coins, right? Well, this system is kind of like that Brentwood system, right? That Bretton Woods system. So it kind of looks like we're repeating history here, right? All right, so we'll get more into it. Bitcoin separated the banking and finance system by CeFi and DeFi. So what happened was, when they made Bitcoin, you have your CeFi system and you have your DeFi system. And I'll explain what that means. So it's separated, because remember, we are looking for that alternative banking system. And that alternative banking system is the Bitcoin system, which is cryptocurrency, right? So CeFi, which is centralized finance, and that's your current system you're in now. If you are banking with any of the banks, that's your banking system now. That is called what is CeFi. And CeFi is centralized. So it's your current banking system is centralized. Your banking system is regulated by the government, which in turn, the banks regulate the general population through finance, through your spending, your interest rates, your mortgages, your banking, inflation, online banking, etc. Government affiliated and managed by banks. That is your banking system now. So let me just give you a scenario. So there are a couple of things, people that key players in the business, in the overall world, that control our everyday life, right? So those are the banks, the government, the stock market, YouTube, Amazon, Facebook, and all those things, right? So let me just give you a quick scenario before I go into DeFi, right? So at the current moment, if your bank decides not to, let's just say you wanted to go buy a house, and you had $100,000 in there, and your bank won't release it. guess what happens? Your deal falls through, and they decide if you want to or not. If you go to your bank right now, they decide on how you are withdrawing and depositing, right? So what happens is if you go to your bank, right, and you deposit more than 4,999.99, right? What happens is they start to question you. They start to try to figure out, where did you get that money from, right? So you could have been doing business and all types of things, but they want to know because they like to regulate. If you go and you want to take out $2,000, immediately that cashier goes and get approval from one of the managers in the bank. And that's them controlling. They can stop and they can release depending on how they function and what are their reasons. And then you are the one holding the bag, because it's like you have to justify why you couldn't do what you could do. All right, so that is the banking system. That's the government, and the government wants you to fill out. So they control most of your banking, right? Okay, how, well, you may say, Jill, well, how does Facebook and YouTube and all of them regulate our world, and how do they directly affect me? Okay, this is how. I don't know if you guys noticed that Kanye West was banned. There are a couple of people who are banned, but if you look at it like this, say you are running your whole total business, you're ordering off of Amazon, you're making YouTube videos, and you are on Facebook, right? And you are promoting your business on there. And so happens one day you get caught up in a question that isn't answered appealingly to most of the population. Guess what happens? You are shut down. You are shut down because basically they control, the networking. So they can shut you down, have all your content, all your pictures, all your family memories. They can shut all of that down. You can be banned from Amazon, and you won't be able to get any products, and you won't be able to live your life, right? You won't be able to pay your bills because they shut all of that down, right? That's another reason why Bitcoin has come into play, because it wanted people to have an alternate way to be able to do things without all the control, what they call is Big Brother watching. So that's when we get into DeFi, right? So DeFi is decentralized, right? So the future of banking, it's a system that runs on the Bitcoin network, software. It's the government and the banks do not regulate the finances as we speak, right? We're not going to say all of them. There are some of them that are regulated and there are some that are not. But if they're decentralized in crypto space, that means that it's not regulated, that you are your own banker, right? So it's not government affiliated and it's not managed by the banks. You are your own banker. And that's why we have all these other little terms. And I'll tell you a little bit why, right? So let's go back over that. CeFi is your current banking system. DeFi is when you are in the cryptocurrency arena and you're in the decentralized space and you are your own banker, okay? All right, so I just wanted to give you a visual on what that looks like. So currently, if your current currency looks like this, dollar bills, credit cards, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, you are in the CeFi arena. But if you are in the DeFi, more than likely, depends on the wallet you have, right? And we'll go into that next week. But you have these like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dogecoin. There's so many others. There are so many others, but we'll get into that. But I just wanted to go over the history to show you why we are to this place so you can better understand what you are doing when you get in this space or if you're in this space, right? All right, so I just gave you a little visual to show you what CeFi looks like and what DeFi looks like, right? So here you have it. This is your state capital. They own the treasury, right? They hand down the laws and the regulations to the central bank. And this is the central bank in the middle. I'm talking about the picture on the left-hand corner top, the white picture, right? And then that central bank decides on how funds are going to be distributed and how they are going to regulate them. And they send it to your commercial banks, which are the banks in your community. And then those banks hand out what mortgages are going to look like, what's the cost of things are going to look like, whether it's a car, your microwave, a bed, your computer, your house, you know, even to the prisons, they dictate, you know, how the courts are going to, you know, charge fines and all that other stuff. And it goes around like the circle of life, right? Circle of life. So again, the bottom, I mean, so let's go to the top so we can do the comparison. So then you have DeFi, right? So if you look where my arrow is pointing down to the right side of the page, decentralized finance, you see it? Basically, this is how the transaction goes, right? You are the sender, it goes through the blockchain, which is called DeFi, and it goes to your receiver, right? But when you're in a CeFi, your transaction goes like this. You are in a CeFi, that's the yellow section on the bottom. You are the sender, it goes through the bank, and that bank can stop that transaction right then and there if they choose to. If they choose to, they can stop it right then and there, and they can reject it for whatever their protocol is. It could be not today, and you are left with the task of figuring out why. And okay, then let's just say it goes smoothly. It goes to that bank, and then it goes to Visa, MasterCard, and they have to verify it, right? They can stop it, right? So they can stop it for whatever their reasons are. But let's keep going. If it goes smoothly, even more, it goes to that person's bank, and then it goes to that person. So you have 3 stoppages along the way that can stop your transaction for whatever reason, and they can decide on what it is that they want to do and why it should be stopped. And then you are left with the task of figuring out why and fixing those reasons, right? So you ever went on something and you try to buy something and you try to figure out why, and they say, oh, you know, they blocked your transaction. Well, the bank have that liberty to stop your transaction. It's a funny thing, because when you're going into the bank and you're giving them the money, it's no problem. But once you start to try and take it out, we always hit a couple of bumps in a row, right? So just saying, all right? All right. So, I mean, an experience, right? So, all right. So let's move on. All right. So then we came to, you know, so we had Bitcoin, remember Bitcoin, and then we broke it up to CeFi and DeFi, and then we got an improvement on Bitcoin. I mean, hey, this is what the world is about. They're always upgrading or, you know, outdoing the next person, right? So this, I just wanted to show you why we came to Ethereum. So there was originally Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is a software, and it only transfers money through that software. So the way that, I mean, let's go back so I can show you. You see this decentralized? Bitcoin just goes through this process, just one way, go to that process, go one way, and it just, I mean, it goes there. And what happens is, you know, Bitcoin travels on that. So when Bitcoin travels on that, you know, it's just currency. It's just money going, you're your own banker. But what happened was someone came up with Ethereum, and they created Ethereum. So Ethereum is a technology that not only lets you send cryptocurrency on it, but it also lets you record and send documents. So I don't know if you heard about the these like kind of crimes in mortgages where banks, you know, banks' computers, I mean, they get hacked all the time, right? So in the central banking system, there's one main computer, right? And there's always getting hacked. I know you have experienced it, or know someone who experienced it, where they said, oh, the system got hacked, and, you know, we just wanted to let you know, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we are keeping your information safe. And now you're like, not only paranoid that maybe your money is going to be gone, but you're paranoid that your identity is out there, right? Well, so Ethereum came along and said, we got a solution to that. We're not only going to send money on our network, but we can also record documents, and we can also send documents on it. So they created the software on top of Bitcoin to send money, also assets, digital assets, which is called like, documents. So from what I'm getting and what I'm understanding, that the future of this is that you're going to not only going to be able to send documents on it, but you're going to be able to have your driver's license and your IDs and all your other passports and all that other stuff on Ethereum network. So one of the things that happen is that, with mortgages, you sign those documents, your bank puts them into some storage system, somebody breaks in, and, this has been happening a little bit, where somebody breaks in and then they take those documents and then they take your name off of it and show the deed and show that they own it. And people are losing their houses by somebody just coming in and selling it from under them. And they have to, take a lot of time to prove that they didn't sell their house, and wind up, losing it a lot of times, right? Because those systems in the banks can be hacked, number one. And number two, they have the documents stored in some dusty old storage where people who have access to it, or somebody breaks in and they get those documents, right? So that was one of the reasons why Ethereum was built. So Ethereum can hold what they call those smart contracts. They can hold coins and funds, and they can also hold like anything that's digital, which is what I'll get into later. People call NFTs. So NFTs is nothing but digital documents that can be recorded on the Ethereum network. And we'll get into what those NFTs are later on, right? So after Ethereum, then it became an evolution of coins, and that's when cryptocurrency was born. So let's just go over that again. So it started out with Bitcoin for fairness and transparency and having people have an alternate banking system. And then Ethereum came along and one-upped them and said, hey, we can send, we not only can send Bitcoin, coins like Bitcoin, but we can also send digital documents that will be safe and hackable, non-hackable, right? So then they said, and then all these other coins came, like Litecoin, Dogecoin, all came after one after another. But the thing is, they all run on the Bitcoin software, right? So let's see, let's go to that. So introducing cryptocurrency, as I said, cryptocurrency is a digital currency, which is an alternate form of payment that was created. So, as of March 2022, there were 18,465. That's since March. And it could be a lot more, but let's just say around 18,000, right, in existence. So after Ethereum came along, all these other coins started to be born. Right? So I wanted to take a little time to do a little quiz time. This is not graded. It's just something to, just jog your mind and just say, hey, let's see if we can remember some of those good stuff that you've been talking about, right? So let's just play a little quiz, if you will, right? So let me see. I can bring it up. Let's see. Let me see. I'm going to bring it up really quick. And then we're going to see who knows what, right? What do you remember, right? What do you remember? Let's see. So I have a couple of questions, and all you got to do is like put your answer in the chat and just see, if you got the correct answer. It's just something to jog your memory, just to see if you are, caught a lot of that, right? So let's see, let me just get into it. What is going on? Don't tell me. Okay, I just have to set up something. Thank you guys for your patience. I have to set up something in order to get this rolling. I have to set up, which is interesting because I have to set up my other computer to get into the thing. But it's okay, guys. It's a work in progress. This is a work in progress, right? Let's see. Zoom. All right. Patience with me, please. All right. So I'm going to start. I should have had this done, actually. My apologies. Okay. But it's a fun little game, so I would love for you guys to try it out. Fun little game. Hmm? No, I'm getting it. It's just that I was I know. Let's see. Join. What is my code again? All right, so let's see. Right. Nope. Oh yeah, here we go. 48. 121. 03. 12. All right. Oh my gosh, my computer is so slow, my other one. So slow.
Got some messages in the chat.
Huh? Yeah. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, it's okay, Zoe. No worries. Thanks for putting. Thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. I truly appreciate it. It's I can play. Yeah. Let's see, join. All right. Mike. All right, here we go. It's just yeah. Okay. All right. So okay. Yeah. So all right. So all right. So let's see. Post a quiz. Here we go, guys. I'm getting it done. I'm getting it done. No worries. Don't tell me.
I'll be done by now. Yeah, would you put night lights to take a shower?
All right, here we go. Hopefully it's working. Let's see, start. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I'm not giving up, guys. This is just driving me nuts. Okay. Okay. Invite. All right. Here we go.
Cillionaire,
Yes.
what a question record.
I mean, if you guys are not on a computer, it won't allow you to play because I'm not sure why it doesn't work on smartphones and stuff, but it won't allow you to play if you play. Let's see. Okay. So I'll put the code in the chat. But if you can't play, just kind of put the answer in the just put the answer in the thing. Okay. So we're gonna start, right? And I'm gonna share my screen. Start. All right. So, oh, sorry. Okay. So Bitcoin was created, and you could just put your answer in the chat. It's either A, 2022, B, 2018, C, 2008, or D. All right, that one was over. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see? I don't think you could see it, right? Wait a minute. No, you can't see it. Okay. All right, I'm sorry. Let's see. Share. Okay. Can you see it now? Yes. We missed the first one, but it was 2008. You can see. Okay, great. I'm sorry, guys. All right, next question. All right. All right, Bitcoin is a parent, a fruit drink, or software? Ah, I see some D's in the chat. Awesome. That's great. Oh, yep, D is the correct answer. All right, next question. All right, Bitcoin was created, A, as an alternative to current banking and finance system, or B, as an alternative to cookies, or C, as an alternative to people littering? I see some A's in the chat. Yes, you guys rock. I love it. I love it. Next question. All right. So Nixon's shock did not cause a domino effect on, did not Robin Hood, Lehman Brothers, Luna, FTX, Everglade, or Pizza Hut? Yes, F, guys, that's right. Not. That was the key word, not. You guys rock. All right. Next question. AMC did they want, A, want fairness in banking and stock market, or they wanted apes to wear crowns? Or C, they wanted bananas to be the symbol of AMC? All right, let's see what the chat is saying. Yes, A is the correct answer. Yes, guys, you guys rock. All right, next question. I like this. This is fun. Nixon's shock was A, the end of Bretton Woods system, B, the end of World War II, C, the end of cryptocurrency, or D, the end of Nixon? All right, let's see what the chat is saying. A is the correct answer. Great job. I love it. All right, next question. banks were able to print money at their A, bed, B, sun, C, leisure, or D, heart? Let's see what the chat is saying. I see some C's in the chat. C is the correct answer. Yes. Excuse me. All right, next question. Ethereum is an N or N, A, upgrade software to Bitcoin in the capacity of coins and documents, B, a mobile phone, or C, a game? All right, let's see what the chat is saying. All right. Ah, voila. Hey, great, guys. All right, next question. We got 3 more to go. All right, CFI stands for A, cat's eyes looking for fish, B, current banking system that is centralized, or C, cute eggs finding ice cream? All right, let's see what the chat is saying. All right, B, yes, for all those bee lovers, yes, great job. All right, so, all right, DeFi stands for A, dogs eating foreign ice cream, B, dealing everyday funds and income, or C, decentralized? All right, let's see what the chat is saying. I see some C's in the chat. Yes, great job. Last one, guys, last one. You guys are doing amazing. All right, Ethereum is an A, cryptocurrency, a star, B, a star, or C, futuristic car? All right, let's see what the chat is saying. All right. Hey, yes, guys, thank you for that. That was amazing. You guys are truly, truly amazing. That was really, really fun on my behalf. Guys, that was really, really great. So I just wanted to, go back to telling you guys. So we're at my, all right, so let's see. Let's get back to it. And we're just going to end this out by, talking about the rest of it, right? So here we go. So we had fun. That was great. So I want to open up this part to Q&A. Any questions? Anyone? I mean, you can unmute. I think I left to unmute, right? Any questions? I'll check. Any
First
questions?
of all, we want to thank you. We want to thank you. This is good researches. I'm telling you, I have chill right now. It's like a university. Thank you so much, Jill. You are so patient, and thank you for that opportunity. It's priceless.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And by the way, can the attendees can have a copy of that beautiful class? Is it possible? Whoever attend that class can have a copy so they can go over it because it's really priceless.
Yes, I am recording it and I will be posting it on my YouTube channel for people who would like to look it over and go over it again and listen to it, because it is a lot of information. And I truly appreciate you guys listening to it, because I'm just so like elated to even be here with you guys and be able to give you this knowledge, because sometimes it seems so confusing in the crypto space, but once you start to get the information, it becomes like second nature to you. And this is really important for the future, because people haven't grasped the idea yet, but it is becoming the future of banking. So yes,
and not
so
only
this
that,
will
Jill, information is power. You give us power now.
Yes, yes, yes. So thank you for that. But yeah, I'm gonna post it on my YouTube channel. I'll go back to that information so you guys can get it. Actually, I'll just put it in the chat. Just check. I'll just put my name in the chat and then you guys can look for it. Any other questions?
Yeah.
No, Jill, I just want to say it was
Thank you.
amazing. You did a great job as usual, and
Oh, thank
a lot of great information. So looking forward to
Yeah.
the next class.
Yes, yes. So, so we'll be going on to the next class. I'll be talking more about cryptocurrency. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of history to understand, and I hope that I touched a lot of people in this presentation to understand exactly why we are at this point and where we came from and where we're going. I don't know if you noticed that one of the things that I forgot to mention, I was trying to do a correlation to show you how history was repeating itself. But in 1600, the first homes started being bought by coins. Guess what, guys? In 2022, the first home in Gulfport, Florida, was brought with Bitcoin. So we're basically doing like a repeat of history. Coins, Bitcoin. First house bought with, the new currency. In 1600, first house bought with this new currency in 2022. So just wanted to give you guys that as added information. But I'll let you guys go with questions.
Jill, this is Eric. I want to thank you. That was amazing. I enjoyed that.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Thank
I hope
you.
you guys enjoyed the quiz. I thought that was pretty fun.
I did. I wanted to jump in so
Thanks.
bad. I said, I'll just wait. I'll let somebody else jump in. But it was great.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Thanks for that. Oh, you're welcome, Anne. He was attendance recovery. Zoe, hey, was this attendance recovery? I'm not quite sure what you are asking me about attendance recovery. But I mean, just let me know, like in the chat, or you could unmute and just tell me. Irma, I appreciate it. Jackie, yes, appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys, I mean, for even coming out. So if we have no other questions, I'm going to move on. I just want to go over it again, a little bit summary. And as I said before, all my resources are there. You guys can see them. I showed them on the screen. But we are to this point because the evolution of money, the Nixon shock, which caused the domino effect, that caused a lot of crashes and events by, ending the Brentwood system caused banks to start printing money at their leisure. A lot of big companies started having poor management, whether it was banks or crypto, whether it's regulated or not. The subprime market came in, having all that crash with the Lehman Brothers, the automobile companies, Bank of America, you name it, they all been part of it. Then we had the OWS, which is the Wall Street, and then we had Robinhood who have been sued because they are manipulating retail investors, and that became the apes thing. So Occupy Wall Street and the apes were the people who wanted transparency and all of that stuff. And Bitcoin was trotting along to give that transparency and to give that alternate. So understand that once you get into the decentralized space, that you are your own banker. So CeFi, remember, is if you are dealing with cash, Venmo, Cash App, all those different things, or buying things online with Amazon and stuff, you are in the CeFi place. This is very important when it comes to identifying. When you are in the cryptocurrency space, you are in a DeFi, depending where you are, and we'll go over that in the next couple of classes, right? And then Bitcoin, remember, holds two hats. They are a software that runs your cryptocurrency, which is your money on that software. It's just like Cash App and Zelle. The only difference is it's not regulated and it's not controlled by the banking government, right? So when you send your payment from Zelle, you got to send it to another person who have Zelle, right? Same thing. Bitcoin is that software that when you send it from one person to the next person, you're sending it on Bitcoin. And then Ethereum came along. Ethereum said, hey, we can do one better. We can send currency. Also, we can send documents. and then became the birth of cryptocurrency, and lots of currencies came to play and said, hey, we're here too. We want to be in this space. And that's exactly what happened. So that's the summary of what we went over today. And guys, what's coming up is going to be, lots of other stuff. So we're going to talk about coins and stuff. We're going to talk about wallet setups and crypto transferring and training classes and NFTs and all that great stuff. Take a screenshot of this page. We are here at the same link every week. I'm not sure if Eventbrite, if you registered on Eventbrite, you're going to see the link every time, or you have to keep setting up for the classes. Eventbrite is an amazing platform. I have a little trouble with putting my link in, so you can join my Telegram group to stay abreast of it, or you can scan one of these QR codes and you'll find the link in there. So this is for your information. But if you don't, this is the meeting code. You can basically take a screenshot of this and make sure you have the meeting code. We're going to be talking about coins next week and NFTs, and show you how that relates to Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's only 2 networks you can send money on. No, that's more than 2. My apologies. I'll take that back. But it's more than 2. But the main 2 is Ethereum and Bitcoin. But they all run on top of those, or they use their services. So we'll get into all of that next week, right? So we'll get into what are coins and what are NFTs, and I hope to see you guys there. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you guys next week. I'm going to open it up just one more time for any questions that I can answer. And I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this. Virtual certificates to raise attendance, to make people feel, that's a great idea, Jen. She's talking about giving out virtual certificates. I'll do that. Matter of fact, there's no thoughts about it. You come to the class for the 6 weeks, I will give you a certificate saying that you attended this class and you have officially done a course on cryptocurrency. How about that, guys? How does that sound?
Fabulous.
Yeah, all right. So I'll
Not
get that.
bad.
Fabulous.
Okay, so
Awesome.
so what I'll do is, let me get a moment and I will take attendance on this, so I will know and I can keep a track of it really quick. I'm just gonna take a screenshot, right, of the people who are here, and we will continue to take attendance so we can make sure that people are getting their certificates. No worries, guys. I will do that. All right. Awesome. I got it. Thanks for that. That was a great suggestion, Jen. I truly appreciate that, and I will do that. No problem. So, guys, any other questions before we go? Any other questions? No? Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. A bientôt, what we say in French. I'll see you then, right? So good night, guys, and have a great rest of the week, and enjoy the day, and double your money every day, okay? Have a great one,
Thank
guys.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Good
Jill.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Jill. Good night.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jill. Good night.
Good night. Good night,
Thank
guys.
you so much. Good night.
Good night. Good night.